I guess that's where it'll start. Super Bowl Karen. This all came from Tom Brady throwing the Lombardi Trophy on. I'm gonna guess the Bay. Um, when it first happened, I was like, okay, Brady kind of lit, and then you see him get off the boat, and you're like, oh yeah, he was really lit. The avocado
The avocado,
vodka, man.
avocado
The
vodka.
tequila,
The tequila, avocado
yeah.
tequila.
Avocado tequila.
Ooh, really got him. But I mean, how did this even start, Mike? You want to explain to everybody?
Yeah. So basically, I'm sure everyone's seen the video of Tom Brady throwing the trophy from his boat to Gronk's boat, just launching it. Which, first of all, that man treats a Super Bowl trophy like a paperweight.
When you win 7 of them, bitches.
Yeah, he just doesn't care. Like, he's like, yeah, like, so here is my Super Bowl trophies, and then over there, you're like, wait a minute, you just say 7 Super Bowl trophies?
Yeah, I got 7 of them in Johns.
Yeah. So basically, to kind of give some background story, they make a new Super Bowl trophy every year. It's not like the Stanley Cup. I think the NHL is the only organization in history to keep the same trophy of the major sports, right?
Yeah, I believe
so. Apparently, this woman whose dad designed the first Lombardi trophy back in, I don't even know what year, she came out a few days later, mind you, and said, well, on behalf of my father and other silversmiths, I'm deeply offended. I didn't sleep for 2 days. Tom Brady owes an apology to the fans, and not only to the fans, but Tom Brady needs to personally apologize to me. No, that's not happening. Mm-mm.
Dustin, what are you thinking about this whole thing?
This bitch Karen. I saw the clip of her giving her interview today, and frankly, I feel like you really test like a journalist in not laughing in your face. Mind you, I hope she looked. I don't think she looked in the mirror before like she went and did this interview, but
probably not.
To have the audacity to say, my feelings are hurt. I couldn't sleep for 2 days.
She got them fake tears.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep for 2 days. It was just bothering me so much. I'm just like, do you really not have anything else going on in your fucking life?
Yeah, really.
Like, okay, remember in 2017 when they were
she didn't even make the bitch.
And Gronk was teeing off with the thing. Where was she? He was hitting dingers with it, and he wasn't allowed to touch the trophy for like 4 years.
Oh, man.
And now she didn't say anything.
Wait, what was the who won Champions League? Or my bad. No, Premier League. Who won the Premier League?
Dropped it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was the FA Cup, Aubameyang. Yeah, Aubameyang.
I don't do soccer.
Yeah,
Whoever the fuck did it. But they dropped the trophy in front of the bus. The bus ran over the bitch. Hear whoever made that trophy complaining.
Oh, yeah, that was the Champions League. That was Champions League.
Yeah, and that thing was like, I think it was like valued at like some ridiculous amount.
Well, yeah, it's fucking huge.
Yeah,
you can hear like whoever designed that's daughter going like, they ran over my motherfucking trophy.
They ran that bitch over.
Well, okay, like we were talking about this before. Like it's like she doesn't even make it. It's not like her family like crafts it in their garage every year. This is a design that was made 40 years ago by not just her dad, but I'm sure other people. He wasn't just the one dude.
Yeah.
It's made by Tiffany's, which is like the most respected brand in the world in terms of like jewelry and like fine crafts. And it's like Tiffany's didn't come out with a statement. They weren't like, hey, Mr. Brady, please don't do that, because they don't care.
Literally, when I heard this, I'm just like, who the fuck are you?
Seriously.
Yeah, when I heard this, I'm like, okay, next.
If the silversmiths themselves are mad, I'd be like, all right, I get it, because like I do wood carving, and so I'm like, okay, you could maybe make a case, but even then, I'd be like, chill out, But it's not
that serious.
She's not even a silversmith.
We can always like hook you up with like this bitch Karen over here. Like,
see now,
she looks like a smoke, right?
Yeah.
I think I was listening to a podcast today. Actually, I'm going to plug my job. I was listening to the Morning Woodward show, and they were talking about, could you imagine if Tom Brady came on live television and said, I'd like to give an apology, and then just took 7 Super Bowl trophies and just started knocking them off shelves?
No. What Tom Brady really should do is the next interview he does, or like the next press conference, somebody asks him about, did you hear Karen, whatever the fuck's comments about you tossing the Lombardi? And he's just like, who? It
Who
literally
the
just
fuck is that
recreate
guy?
that meme from Avengers Endgame where Scarlet Witch comes down and she's like, "You took everything from me," and Thanos is just like, "I don't even know you. I don't even know who you are."
Or you get the Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is that guy?
Yes.
Yes. You think Tom Brady cares about you? He doesn't.
I don't know. I mean, and like the only thing is like I have a story and it's basically about the NHL's trophy because with theirs they don't make it that they basically once they use the ban enough. What?
Who the fuck gives a shit about hockey?
Hey yo, chill, bro. Let me tell my story. Bro. So basically, whenever they carve enough names in a band, they'll take it off and put a new one.
Yeah.
But in '94, back when the Rangers won their last cup, they got a little too rowdy and threw that bitch off a hotel roof into the pool and kind of dented the bitch. So now they're like, let's not do that anymore.
Yeah.
But that's the like if that happened, like if they dented and broke the trophy, I'd understand. But like,
man, I'm surprised that thing didn't get dented.
Well,
not this past season, not this past off season, but the season before that.
Yeah.
When the Capitals won it, and Ovechkin was carrying that thing around there like it was his freaking child. Yeah. Like everywhere that man went, I'm surprised that thing didn't end up with a couple more dents.
Even the NHL, I was watching a video on it. What people don't know is they actually have 3 Stanley Cups. So the original one is the one that they present at the I think the original one is actually at the Hockey Hall of Fame. They have a presentation one, and then they have one that the players use when they go and make the rounds with it.
Yeah.
One that's gonna give everybody mono.
Yeah, the one that probably has the COVID virus.
You get your day with the cup.
Yeah. Because you ever see if they would have kept all the names from history on it, that bitch would have been like 100 feet long by now.
Yeah, that's why they take it off. They take a band off and then they keep I think on like the top ones, those are like the original ones, and then like the whole body one is like the newer ones.
Where my Red Wings have like there's like 100 Red Wings and then there's like
it's just the Red Wings.
I'm in the middle of something.
Uh-oh. He's calling another timeout. That's the second of the half.
Before we close out with this clip, I just want to apologize to whoever's viewing this for the amount of hockey talk that was in here, especially the fact that we talked about the bum ass Red Wings too. I would just like to formally apologize. I'm sorry, his bitch Karen. I'm sorry. It's all yours. I'm sorry.
No, we can't even say sorry to Karen. Fuck her.
My bad. Fuck you, Karen.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry to you.
All right. I mean, we got that out of the way. Super Bowl Karen. Can't believe we even talked about it, but we had to. Like, it was too easy to talk about it. So now we're on the NBA. We're kind of in the full swing of things. I don't know how many games are left. Like, because they're playing what?
It's a 72 game season.
Yeah, I'd say we're like a third of the way through, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know the trade deadline is in. Oh, what happened? ESPN.
Oh shit.
Oh, who got that?
This shit don't matter.
Oh, never mind. Okay, so
I got a notification about NASCAR last night. I was like, why do I give a fuck about this?
Dog, that shit didn't end till like 1 a.m. in the morning.
I swear I turned the NASCAR updates off. But back to NBA. Trade deadlines in I believe a month, just a little over a month actually. And I mean, we just had today 2 players come out and their team saying that they're not going to play until they get moved or bought out or whatever. We got Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. We'll talk about Andre Drummond first because he's probably the bigger name.
They're both notoriously overrated players.
Yeah, but you never know. Can I add something to the team? Justin, you want to talk about Andre Drummond?
I would just like to say, please God, I hope that the trade doesn't go through with the Raptors and they consider buying this man out because you know who really needs a big man? The Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've been holding out just for him to get bought out. But
I'm like, you got our center and freaking Jared Allen. Like, you got one.
No, just give us one back.
Just return the favor. Just
buy him back.
Just buy him out and like send him over here.
It's like, but like with Andre Drummond is like, who would trade for him?
Yeah.
Like he's making like what 28 mil this year.
Yeah.
Like, why would you? And you'd have to give up something for that. Like, like I don't know. Like I know he's been putting up numbers, this year,
Like,
rebounding wise.
He's
but
regressed a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like his stats like really good this year, but like he always puts up some gaudy rebounding stats. But like,
because that's what he does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he spent most of his career on like the crappy Pistons.
As somebody who was a firsthand witness to Andre Drummond for the entire time I liked basketball, he's a very good rebounder, but I could watch a game and forget he was on the team, if that makes sense.
He's a glorified role player.
Yeah,
they try to make him seem like he's a superstar, but no, or even a star. He's just a role player, and he's really good at what centers needed to do in the 60s.
Yeah.
And just rebound and score in the paint. Yeah. But he doesn't really have paint moves.
No, and
that's why he needs to end up on Brooklyn's roster, because like we don't need him to score. We don't need him to post anybody up.
Just get
you don't even need him on a pick and roll.
No.
Just grab the rebound and dunk it on some white guy.
Yeah.
That's pass it out. Pass it out to KD. KD wide open. Bang.
Yeah.
Cash.
That's how he averages 20 and 10. No, he was averaging like I think his All-Star season. It was like ungodly. He was averaging like 22 rebounds a game or something on like I think 15 points. It was something nuts. And it was only because he will either get a rebound and put it up or get a rebound on the defensive end. So it's these pitter-patter shots. Where else you guys think he could end up? I see like a team like the Pelicans potentially trying to see if they can scoop him up.
I think the Celtics maybe, but I'm just like, they don't have the assets really to try to get him. Because like at this point, Danny Ainge's woodshed full of draft capital is kind of depleted.
Yeah, it's like what is it? Memphis's top 3 protected pick or something now, or is like lottery protected?
I thought they had that last year. Was it lottery protected?
I think it's top 3 protected.
Do they have it this year, or did they not? Because
I believe it was this year. I've played enough my league to think it's this year.
But the thing is,
would you really want to trade that?
Yeah, why would you want $28 million? First of all,
but the thing is, with Boston, they do have that trade exception of $28 million.
But they don't have a single center above 6'9".
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, what would the Cavs want back? That's the whole point.
The only center above 6'9" they got is Taco. I'm pretty sure he's playing in the G League.
They should give Taco a shot, bro.
They really should.
He's good.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
he literally does what Andre Drummond does.
That is,
and he shoots better.
And he's a meme.
He's a meme, exactly. Just put him on the bench for 5 minutes. Come on.
What you mean? Start Taco.
Yeah,
you could even start him. I mean,
give Taco 36 minutes a night.
Bro, all he has to do is put his arm up and he just dunks.
Dog, Taco's a franchise player. Stop it.
It's like Timmy Turner, that one episode, he was a basketball player.
Yeah,
I want to check his birth certificate, but he probably better than Wilt.
All right, so that's Andre Drummond. Most likely he'll get bought out, but we'll see. Anything can happen. Someone might just trade for him.
I don't think the Raptors are contending enough to really like. They say that like they're sort of like ahead right now as far as like trade candidates, but I'm just like trade destinations.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I don't feel like the Raptors are in contention enough to really want to pull the trigger on that kind of trade.
Oh, heck no.
So that's Andre Drummond. Now we got Blake Griffin. Shit.
Let me start this one off.
Oh, yeah, you can go ahead because this is your team. So.
Oh, man. What happened to him, first of all? He's untradeable. I would say he's guaranteed $39 million next year. He's going to accept that player option. Who wouldn't? He can't dunk. He will get a wide open opportunity. And you ever press the dunk button with Steve Nash or like a really unathletic dude in 2K? And it's like that weird layup. That's what it looks like. He does this thing where he'll put the ball up and then just put it in the basket. He won't dunk.
So the dunker can't dunk anymore.
He can't dunk. He can't create his own shot. I've seen him. He can't even post up Duncan Robinson, who is not known for his defense. Third time out you're out for the half, by the way.
Third time out for the half.
Yeah.
Can we all take a brief moment to realize that at one point last season, both of the bum ass players that we're talking about were all on the Pistons.
They were on the Pistons for 2 years.
I'm just saying.
Shoot, Blake Griffin was borderline all-star a couple years ago, though. He averaged the most points ever.
But I bet you really thought that once y'all, for some deranged reason, traded for Blake Griffin, thinking that he was gonna jump over Kias and dunk in Detroit. You would have thought that he'd make at least one All-Star game as an Eastern Conference All-Star, since it's much easier to do it in the East.
And I was 15, man.
You know you fucked up,
15.
Right? You know you fucked up.
Y'all fucked up.
Well, hey, you want to know what people don't talk about? You know what that pick that we traded became? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Y'all really fucked up.
People don't realize that. Right? People overlook that part of the trade so much. The 11th overall pick was Shai, and that was our pick.
Hey, yo.
And now we have Killian Hayes on the bench with a hip injury. I know. I'm putting it up for myself, too.
Well, let's be honest here. Most of y'all first-round picks for the past decade have been god-awful.
Don't remind me, man.
Y'all had
Booker, Donovan Mitchell.
Y'all had Spencer Dinwiddie, and you said, he good.
We traded him for Cameron Bairstow. I remember that trade like it was yesterday.
Who?
Exactly.
Y'all like Bill Belichick when it comes to drafting.
Y'all just don't care. Y'all just like, we don't even want to develop our own players. Just get them out of here.
We traded Chris Middleton for Brandon Knight.
Oh, you mean the guy that
got dunked on by DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah.
Who thought he could contest a dunk by a 7-footer?
He said, I could block this.
Oh, wait, no. You mean the guy that has no ankles after Kyrie Irving just chopped them shits off?
Hit him with that.
And the Rising Stars challenge.
I want to know the worst part about being a Pistons fan for the past 10 years was there was a very serious debate.
I think it's just a Detroit fan, to be honest.
We've been asked.
True.
But you want to know something?
Literally all y'all asked.
Yeah. Like, there was once a debate.
Everybody.
There was once a debate between Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond as who the future was going to lie in. And one's out of the league and the other one's untradeable. So
I still can't believe that the Bucks signed that man as a free agent thinking that like he was going to help. But that's just a different story for another day.
Oh yeah.
But like what y'all the Detroit Lions. Y'all suck. Detroit Tigers. I guess y'all somewhat respectable now, but
hey, they got prospects. That's about it.
Hey,
y'all suck.
Y'all suck.
Detroit Red Wings.
Man,
y'all fell off.
Y'all the worst team in the goddamn NHL.
Y'all fell off.
Hockey.
Y'all fell off.
Man.
And the Detroit Pistons. Y'all still living off of 2004.
Hey,
yo, Justin, you forgot number 5, the Ford Motor Company. Y'all fell off.
Cheap ass Ford Motor Company that took money back from Barry Sanders.
I say the and Megatron is probably the worst sports team in Michigan.
Y'all fell off.
Hey man, I'm in pain. Y'all don't need to point that out to me. I'm in pain. Like,
and we shouldn't talk about Michigan's football team.
Michigan's basketball team, on the other hand.
Yeah.
We have
But then for some reason you let Jim whatever the hell his name is,
John
Boeheim, whatever the fuck he is, you let him leave to go coach the freaking Cavaliers
for
one
season. I'm happy about that.
I'm
happy about that. John Boeheim never had a recruiting class like this.
True.
Best in the nation under Juwan.
But he did get y'all. Wait, did y'all win that?
No, he played.
No, they got
John
the
Boeheim was
Final
always that guy with a ceiling. He got us to 2 national championships. He was always good at taking talent that was decent and making it good, and then making that guy an NBA player, like Karis LeVert, for example.
Did Kevin Ware go to Louisville or Michigan?
Louisville, and then they beat us because they cheated and had strippers and that bad block call.
Well, at least the guy got a ring, right? Granted, he kind of like snapped his leg in half like a pretzel.
I was watching that game live.
Oh man,
I was 11 years old.
All right, so I mean, other than those 2 names, you guys want to shout out one name that you think could get moved? Like, so we'll start with Justin.
Grant.
Okay.
I don't know why y'all, man. Literally, all of your moves were so questionable this offseason.
Are you just gonna say any Detroit player on your team, Mike?
No. Trade the entire roster. Fire Dwayne Casey. Literally, just clear house.
He's got Sekou Doumbouya shooting corner threes all game. All right, who do I really think is gonna get?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Okay. For me, it's between Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine. Between those 2.
Okay.
I think Zach LaVine's more realistic since I think he's an expiring contract.
Yeah.
I think Victor Oladipo could be moved, but he was already moved because like he's an expiring deal, and even though Houston likes to believe that they're going somewhere with the experiment of the ghosts of John Wall and Boogie Cousins.
Yeah.
Trying to be the Wildcats 2.0 when really you're more like Wildcats 0.5. But I'd say you would ship Oladipo somewhere, and how I'd even take 2 seconds for that man. And hopefully a contender can use him, maybe.
The funny thing is, when you look back at that Harden trade, you look at what came after that, they really just said, hey, yo, Karis LeVert, you can go up to Indiana, and we'll just take Oladipo straight up.
They're like the same age.
And LeVert's better.
Yeah, and a better
LeVert's
contract.
like, what is he, 28?
Nah, I think he's like 27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Oladipo's 28.
They old.
Mhm.
But I would say, well, before Derrick Rose got
Karis
traded,
LeVert's like 2 years away from being 2 years away.
amen. I would have said before Derrick Rose got traded that he would have been.
I don't even know why the Knicks traded for that guy.
That was I like that trade on the Pistons part a lot though.
Oh
you guys
yeah,
get
because you
again?
got rid of him because he's expiring deal, and y'all probably ain't gonna bring him back.
Him and Blake were like the worst duo in history this year.
Yeah, but I'd like to.
Blake sucks.
Well, that's not wrong. But 2 other names that you could hear is PJ Tucker, and then actually I just saw DeMar DeRozan could get traded.
They should honestly, the Spurs should have traded him and Marcus way before now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Spurs are the 6th seed right now, though.
But like that experiment just isn't resulting in anything worth watching or worth investing in.
Yeah.
No.
So
They would have been killer 10 years ago, but the Spurs aren't doing anything with that duo now.
To be honest, those are also 2 other examples of overrated players. To be honest with you, but
I like DeRozan though. I do.
Well, not after he left Toronto. that sucks that he got traded, but he hasn't been the same since.
They got a young, nice core though. I really like DeJounte Murray, Devin White, or Derek White.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say Devin White.
All right, so that's the trade deadline part. Now, we've obviously seen enough games where we can determine what teams are real, what teams are going to actually do something in the playoffs, and what teams will actually get to the championship. Justin, you want to start us off? Who do you think actually poses a threat from each conference?
Honestly, I don't see any team denying the Nets from getting out of the East, because I just don't think the Bucks are that great, and I don't think that their coach is that great once you get to the postseason.
Yeah.
So I think that they'll be same thing in the last 2 years. Maybe they'll make it to the second round. Maybe they'll make it to the conference finals. But at some point, since Chris Middleton's a really good player, but he isn't all that.
Yeah.
And Giannis, I saw this man go what was like 1 for 11 from free throw line one game.
Yeah, 1 for
10.
Like,
you can't have that in your superstar player. No. And he's still struggling to shoot threes. You can't have that. And honestly, Drew Holiday is another overrated player. So their big 3 is definitely slacking compared to the Nets. Like the only team, also Miami has fallen off, and that might just be because of like COVID protocols this season. And the Celtics are really ghosts of themselves.
Yeah.
Because they have poor point guard play. And they're honestly, as much as I'm not that big of a fan of Gordon Hayward, they're kind of missing him right now. And they still never addressed what they really needed to address in the offseason anyways, which is what they should have tried to address in a sign and trade scenario with Hayward, which is get them a fucking center.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, get yourselves a center.
Yeah.
But the only team that I could see maybe trying to challenge the Nets is the 76ers, because with Doc Rivers as the coach, Daryl Morey as the GM, they've figured out a way to make the combination of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons work and make Tobias Harris not look like the worst contract in the NBA, which he kind of is, because they've surrounded them with enough shooters where you can have 2 big men, to be honest. But I see the Nets coming out of the East, and as long as the Lakers don't fall off too much now that Anthony Davis is injured, and I don't want to see like another Kevin Durant situation where he comes back and then there goes his Achilles.
Yeah.
Like knock on wood. But I still don't see anybody in the West beating out the Lakers. because I think the Jazz are too good to be true once you get to the playoffs, sort of like how the Bucks have been the past couple seasons.
Mhm.
And I need the Clippers to show it to me before I can believe in them again. Because after they disappointed so much last season, I'm just like, y'all need to show me something before I root for y'all.
Yeah. The only thing I'd like to add about Milwaukee with your point is that with Giannis, he does what he does, but he doesn't even guard the best player.
I'm like, how can you be a defensive player of the year? Like, I understand you not guarding the next team's best player if you're like a center, because that makes sense. But like, Giannis can realistically guard 1 through 5 with like his size and athleticism. So how can you be
100%.
defensive player of the year as a wing player and you don't guard the team's best player?
Nope.
Like that game,
no sense to me.
Yeah, like the game, it was Nets Bucks in Brooklyn. That game just showed me what Giannis is as a player. Like he's really flawed. Like once it gets down to crunch time, he's not going to be taking that shot. No offense.
Like I understand you have like a
shoot.
good defender and even Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
And like sure you have a good shooter in Chris Middleton who you can have take like that last second shot or whatever.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, Giannis, you need, if you're going to be like a star, if you're going to be like the best player in the league or whatnot, if you're going to be a 2-time defending MVP, you got to want that challenge.
Exactly.
And not only that, you shouldn't, okay, you can scheme against players all you want, but like say you put a double on Kobe or a double on Jordan in the playoffs, that didn't matter. You can put 2 guys on Giannis in the playoffs or just wall up the inside and you shut his entire game down.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, and basically what really showed me is when KD's coming down with the ball and it's Chris Middleton guarding KD.
Mm-hmm.
And KD plays power forward for the Nets. So literally they'd match up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then KD goes down the other end of the court and D's up Giannis.
Yeah.
And
this man's coming off an Achilles.
Yeah,
exactly.
he's never been known as a great defensive player like Giannis is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, once he got to Golden State, he became a good defensive player, or like he started to give a shit on defensive end.
Yeah, like he's a good defender. He's not the best, but like he actually tries.
Like, he puts his mind to
player.
it. Like LeBron, when they actually put their minds to it, they can be decent defensive players.
He's like, a guaranteed ring, might as well defend this year.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're on in the Western Conference. I know Justin said that he kind of thinks that the Lakers were gonna get there. We'll see now with AD's injury, as you said,
barring anything with like his Achilles and whatnot, that he gets back to like full health, even though like some of his stats are kind of like down this season.
The only thing with him is he can't. I would say basically he just hold him out for a whole month. I would say let him get his rest. Let's not have another KD situation, like you said. Let's not put any risk into this.
I just chalk this up to sort of like the short off season, the short layoff, especially for the Lakers since they played in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So like that's why I chalk this up to as far as like wear and tear from him. Plus, to be honest, Anthony Davis has kind of been injury prone throughout his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But I feel like this is probably the best thing for LeBron in that this is probably the best thing for his case for MVP.
Yeah.
Like if the Lakers don't fall off a cliff the next couple weeks while like AD's gone, then he realistically can stake his claim as literally the front runner and favorite for MVP.
Yes.
Because I feel like all these years that LeBron has kind of been cheated out of MVP awards, it's in part been because, okay, you have these superstars on your teams. So like you can't be that valuable. You know what I mean? So they kind of like devalue his impact on his team.
Yep.
But now that he only has one other superstar player and that superstar player is gone, sort of like how Giannis only had like Middleton, and we're not saying like he's that great, but you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he's gone, it's literally like LeBron is doing it by himself.
Yep.
Whereas you have other front runners like Embiid, he has Simmons, he has Tobias Harris as just like other max players on his team.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
As long as they're able to stay in like first or like second or like in that top 3 in the Western Conference, I feel like this will be the point in the period in the season that people will look back on when we're talking about MVP at the end of the season to be like, this is why LeBron should win MVP.
Yep. And not only that, because people have always said, oh, well, yeah, only reason Bron's putting up these stats is because of You know, people don't say that about Embiid, but they say about AD because AD is just that dude.
Mhm.
If LeBron's still putting up 32 or whatever he's averaging right now, MVP easy, in my opinion. It'd be nice. I'd like to see him win his last one.
So basically, I'll say like a couple teams that I think, in my opinion, if the Lakers kind of fall off, that actually could probably get to the final. It's definitely, other than the Lakers, it would be the Clippers. Even if the Lakers are healthy, the Clippers still could challenge them. Obviously, we would think the Lakers would come out of that.
They have a better team this year, anyways.
Yeah, so the Clippers could obviously get there. And then even though the Nuggets are in the seventh spot, I think they could kind of turn it around. They got the pieces, especially after last playoffs. If they could build off of that, take their experience from that. They could do.
Maybe
something.
they're just still too young, to be honest with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because while you have Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, who are both max players and stars in this league, you still have like Michael Porter Jr., who's young and just hasn't developed into being like the star type of player he can be, scorer that they honestly need. So I just feel like they're like the team that people keep saying are like a year away or a year or two away, but I just feel like they're a really good team and they could come out of the West. I feel like, especially if the Lakers are injured, and we already seen the fact that they can beat the Clippers, but I just feel like when push comes to shove, they don't have it. Like, to be honest, if I wanted to see Bradley Beal be traded anywhere, I'd want to see him on the Nuggets. That's where I'd want him to go.
Please.
That's where I would want him to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's just my thoughts on like the Nuggets.
People forget too, like I had to look it up and I was blown away. Jokic is only 25.
Yeah.
And
like the guys, they're young. Their stars are young.
Yeah, they're all young.
And because for scale, I saw Jokic play when I was a sophomore in high school and he was 21. That's how young this dude is. That's
how young you are too.
Yeah, that is true. I saw him play in San Antonio and he was young and he was pretty, people forget he's been in this league for a long time, but he was one of those European guys that just made it to the league early.
Yeah, it was a second round pick. He was behind Nurkic, so they traded Nurkic so that they traded Nurkic for Plumlee, right?
Yeah.
Just so that they can play Jokic and feature him. Mm-hmm. But I think back to what you were saying about like the Clippers being one of those teams, Dan, is that I feel like the Clippers is probably like the next best team behind like the Lakers. Hell, I've liked the Clippers roster better all around. Or last year I liked them all around better than the Lakers. Now, this year I think is more comparable, but I'd probably give the slight edge to the Clippers. Like they went down the bargain bin at freaking Marshalls and resurrected the dead and gone corpse of Nicholas Batum. And he served as like the perfect like stretch four for them.
Yes.
And then they're able to actually upgrade from the sixth man of the year in Serge Ibaka and start him, who, although like nobody ever realizes it because he played power forward most of his career, he's 7 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he can actually make a shot from like the perimeter, which Montrezl Harrell couldn't do. And then you can have Zubac come off the bench, and you still have Lou Will come off the bench. The only thing that Clippers are missing is just a playmaker. Yeah. And maybe they can get in on that Kyle Lowry trade market, because Kyle Lowry is an expiring deal. He's like another one of those players that could be traded, because I don't see the Raptors contending. And he could be that type of tough-nosed point guard that can distribute the ball, so then you don't have to put all that pressure on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to be playmakers and just do their jobs as like premier two-way wings.
Yeah. I think everybody
Patrick Beverley isn't doing it.
Yeah. I feel like everybody forgets that the Clippers got all these pieces. They still have all these pieces. They just think about, they blew that 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
So that's what they
wild.
Got. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it is wild. Don't get me wrong, but like they still have one of the best rosters in the NBA. So if they can put it together and not blow a 3-1 lead.
I'm telling you, literally because of that, that's literally the reason why I can't put my faith in them until they show me something.
Yeah.
Prove to me that you can actually be viable in the playoffs.
Like
Yeah.
I want to see
Maybe
that
add
battle
a-
for LA in the playoffs. I want to see it.
You gotta-
that
They
would
gotta
be
add that
great.
extra piece in there though, or they're screwed. Like you said, they need a Lowry type guy, someone who can just come in there and give them 15 to 20 a night and distribute the ball.
I feel like that could be that perfect trade piece for them too, since he's an expiring deal. And if they want to bring him back, they can probably bring him back for something cheaper since the dude's like what, 35?
Yeah, he was drafted in 06. People forget he's been in the NBA for 15 years.
He could literally be what Mike Conley is now, not last season, but now for the Jazz. Because last year, Mike Conley was hot garbage, just downright shitty. This year, he's actually respectable and being like the point guard that they kind of need, while seeding the ball to Donovan Mitchell, since he's like their premier player, and being able to make a shot from the perimeter. But we all know Kyle Lowry can make a shot from the perimeter. And you know what? Who else to recruit the guy to get traded to the Clippers than two of the guys he won a chip with in Toronto in Kawhi Leonard and Serge Ibaka anyways?
They got that chemistry already. And
just reunite them.
Yeah, that's the one thing that was really lacking in LA was, with the Clippers, was their chemistry. So bring back guys.
And you have like three guys who would be starting who had already played together.
Yeah.
And you have Kawhi who's been playing with Paul George for like going on their second season together. So they already have some chemistry, emphasis on some.
Yeah.
But like you see where I'm going here, like that would be like the perfect move for the Clippers. I'd honestly change my mind on the Clippers if they traded for Kyle Lowry, because we know he's done it before in the playoffs. And to be honest, he's that tough nose kind of player that you would want Patrick Beverley to be, except he actually has that skill on offense, because Kyle Lowry is just as much of a dog as Patrick Beverley. But Patrick Beverley is more so made for like a role player, so like bench role. He's not like a premier starting point guard. Kyle Lowry has shown that he can be that premier starting point guard and get you there. Because I don't think anybody's losing a 3-1 lead if you got Kyle Lowry as your point guard.
Nope.
Yeah, probably not. All right, so quick question before we go on to who we actually think is going to get to the finals. So I'll just put a hypothetical. The Clippers trade for Kyle Lowry. Healthy Lakers versus the Clippers with Kyle Lowry. How does that go, Justin?
I think that if the Clippers, like, given Anthony Davis coming back healthy, I think the Clippers with Kyle Lowry would beat the Lakers in a 7-game series.
Oof. So it would go 7 games.
I would take the Clippers in 6 or 7 games.
Yeah,
I would too.
I would too, but it would suck if the Lakers, if they do end up getting Kyle Lowry and the Clippers lose. Oh my God, LeBronto! It will forever be LeBronto, Ontario, Canada,
but
and the Clippers.
I'll be completely honest with you though.
Brother.
If the Clippers if it's a 7-game series, I feel like the Clippers need to win it in 6 games, because we've seen LeBron Game 7. I feel like it'd be wrong for me to not root for LeBron in a Game 7 scenario as a guy who came back from down 3-1.
LeBron is that dude in Game 7.
Like, he's the Tom Brady equivalent in the NBA in that he's lived in the finals practically half his career, as like Tom Brady's kind of lived in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think if you get to a Game 7, that he would be able to get the Lakers over that hump. But I would take the Clippers. In a 7-game series if they had Kyle Lowry.
That's good to know. That's good to know. All right.
As we know, my picks are better than yours because I actually picked the Bucks in the Super Bowl.
That is true. He did beat it both. So.
Oh, my friend still owes me $10. Thank you for reminding me about that.
So now exactly to your point, on to picks. We'll start with you, Justin. What you know right now. So there's no hypothetical or nothing. What you know right now. What is your NBA final?
Right now, barring any moves, I would take the Lakers versus the Nets. And to be honest with you, I would take the Lakers in that series. Okay. It's hard for me to take the Lakers in that series, but I feel like, sort of like as we saw in like the Super Bowl, you need to be able to control like the trenches. And the Lakers just have big men galore, and the Nets can't rebound to save their lives.
Sure.
Yep.
Like, unless it's just an out, and like the Lakers are one of the best defensive teams in the league. So like, unless it just is like an outright shootout, in which I would take the Nets. So unless it's just a straight up shootout and everybody's trying to be the first to 140 a night, then I feel like the best team in that series would be the LeBron James led Lakers.
Gotcha. Mike?
I gotta agree with Justin. I think we saw how crucial rebounding is even last year with the Rockets and James Harden, and how crucial it is to actually be able to defend. You can't just put up 120 a night in the finals because the other team's going to put up 130. It's just
like, think about it. The Cavaliers have 11 wins this season?
Yeah.
2 of them were against the Nets.
Yep.
The bum-ass Washington Wizards, they have 7 wins on the season.
2 of them,
2 of them were against the Nets.
Yeah, it's because they have 1 or 2 big men.
They can't guard anybody to save their lives. But granted, they do get up for winning teams. But I'm just like,
and that's the thing.
We've seen James Harden go cold. We've seen Kyrie Irving go cold. Hell, we've seen teams where it's like, okay, like, what are the odds where all 3 of our superstars go cold and it happens?
Yeah. So, Mike, you have Lakers Nets?
Lakers Nets. Lakers take that W, probably 5 to 6 games. I don't think it would go 7 just because of the surplus of bigs and just the rebounding.
Okay. I'd have to say Lakers Nets. And to be different, I'll just play devil's advocate. I'll say the Nets win in 7. Yeah. And why I'll say the Nets win in 7?
Because you're from New York.
Well, I mean,
I'm from New York.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, well, you have the logical.
But he's actually from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like, it hurts me to not pick the Nets. Like, if I was just an irrational fan, I'd just be like, Nets 100%. They probably win in 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Nets in 3.
Yeah,
and I'll give you why.
Like, we've seen KD go up against LeBron in the finals recently.
Yeah,
and that man was just.
Yeah, and I'll give you why. Why? I'll be devil's advocate and say why the Nets will win. In national television games this year, they are 7-1. When the big 3 play together, I believe they've only lost once. They're like 7-1 as well. I just think when they played the below 500 teams, they just played down to those teams. Obviously, you've seen it with the Wizards and the Cavs. They've lost two against each team. And obviously, if they win those 4 games, they're in first place in the East. What I think it does come down to is even with, I know in Brooklyn, they'll have fans starting later this month. I don't know about LA if they get fans this year. But what I do, even if there's no fans, what it does come down to is who has home court for that Game 7. And if Brooklyn has that home court for Game 7 and they get it to a Game 7, I think they win. If the Lakers have that Game 7 at home, I think they get it. So
at least we get a preview of this matchup this week. And although KD won't play and AD is out, we still see these teams match up. And at least you know that both teams are missing one of their cornerstone superstars.
Yep.
Both of the initials guys.
So like, you know, it's like a decent matchup. Like, you can't really discount much because both teams are shorthanded.
Yep.
And it's in LA. So, right? It's in LA?
I think so.
I believe it's in LA. So if Brooklyn can, I would say even if they lose, but they could keep it close, like they lose by like less than 2 points, like a 3-point loss.
Less than 2 points, 3 points.
Yeah. You know, my words. But I feel like you could take something out of that because KD's not there. But even so, we'll see. It's a preview, obviously, of what most people are going to think the NBA Finals is going to be. So.
Oh yeah, gonna be an exciting game.
So, finally, we can get obviously, if this actually does come to fruition, KD versus LeBron in the finals once again.
Hey, Kyrie versus LeBron.
Kyrie versus LeBron. See, this is why we need this, because all the storylines.
The narrative.
It's just narratives on narratives on narratives.
We just want it. So So NBA could be hyped this year. Finally, we don't know who's gonna win the chip.
It's between these two teams.
Well, I mean, because like when Golden State had everybody, it was Golden State gonna win.
I know what you mean.
That was easy money.
Yeah, like
yeah.
like for like those 4 years, you're like, do we even have to watch? We
You
know
could probably,
Golden State's gonna
I
win.
bet you were probably losing money if you bet on Golden State to win the finals at that point.
Yeah. So that's our NBA predictions trade. NBA finals. So we'll see what happens. This is just what we think is gonna happen right at this moment. Obviously, things could change tomorrow over a month. So we'll obviously have an update in the next couple of months, especially when the playoffs start. So catch us back then. So peace.